How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Forever Arsenal podcast. Another one after another game, this time Champions League. It's a 3-0 win. And we move. A couple of us at the game this time. I haven't spoken to anyone since the game. And yeah, hit that like button, people. Make sure you're subscribed to all of that good stuff. Big up the individual channels as well. Lead Judges TV, Whisper It Loudly, Gooniverse. Make sure you go show them some love as always. And make sure you leave your comments for comments of the day, as usual, coming at the end of the show. Like I said, Champions League game to discuss, a clean sheet and 3 goals. Something unusual considering our performances and results this January, but something needed, I think. Whether they've taken advantage of playing such a poor side at home or not, we're here to delve into it. Or I know the result and the scoreline would say yes. Well, large parts of that game wasn't the most exhilarating, but let's go straight over to League Judges. How was it at the game, Lee? Champions League night. I know there was a lot of tickets available because the 7th game is a bit unusual for the Champions League, as well as maybe our performances, a cold night in London. But was the stadium up for it?
Tough one, because I think credit to the players, really, because there was a lot of empty seats. I don't think everybody was too enthusiastic about the game. I felt that, how can I say it? The atmosphere was that the fans tried, tried to get everybody up for it. It was just a very, very difficult night.
It was crap, Lee. Just be real. It was crap.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. And considering we scored in the first minute, I think that, you'd have to think that it would be a lot better than that. But I'm going to be really honest. Like at half time, there was a lot of people staying in the bars and things like that, which I've not seen for a very, very long while. I don't know why that is, really. I think I've got my own theory on it. I think that 6 months ago, there was such a good atmosphere and a good feel-good factor around the stadium that everybody wanted to go and all that. But I feel like a little bit that 5 games in a row, January, no body bought in the transfer window. People just pick and choose their games over this last month. And if I'll be really honest, even though it was Champions League, this was probably the lowest on the agenda, and I think it showed. And but credit to the players, they come out, got the job done. It wasn't a very good game. God, it's hard to praise players when the opposition is so poor, and they were poor. But we've played just as bad as opposition as that this season, and not got the job done. So to win 3-0, I think, can I be really honest with the players not really getting out of second gear? I don't think they really had to excel themselves in the game at all. Manager making decisions to take players off and resting players, getting players valuable minutes. It was a perfect night for the team in that respect. And if, like Saliba say, was fit or whatever, they're not going to be risked in this game. Calafiori and things like that gives them a few more days extra training or whatever. But the one thing that I took away from the game is that if we don't, and I keep saying it, if we don't buy anybody, we're in trouble, because Sterling in a game like that just struggled. I really felt for him yesterday. It just, if you can't put in a good performance against a poor side like that, not beat your fullback once, not actually do anything constructive in the whole time that you're on, it's a massive worry when you've got Premier League opposition coming up like Wolves, Manchester City, etc., etc., etc. But listen, one game to go. I don't really understand why everybody's going mad about getting to this top 8, because you look at some of those teams in the bottom half of the draw, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, are in around that area. I think you could be unlucky in the draw and just pick out a team that maybe not going well at this moment in time, that will pick up with a couple of like transfers and all that. And I don't know if this is true, so maybe someone can help me out on this, that if you play in the Champions League group stage, you can play for another team in the knockout stage. Is that correct? I find that very, very strange if that's the case. So
I believe they changed that. I think they changed that the year after we signed Aubameyang.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
so
can't.
it's a strange one that. So anyway, like you have to look at it and go that job done, and it's a difficult one. Oh, the other thing that I think you have to say on this game is that was it was dearer to go to this game than it was Manchester United and Newcastle.
Is
So
it?
you can see why the fans perhaps didn't want to go to this game, like, you know what I mean, and perhaps wanted to give it a swirl. And I know a lot of fans that didn't go yesterday that couldn't give away their tickets yesterday. Unbelievable.
I got offered free tickets a couple hours before the match. I'm not in London at the moment, so I just couldn't, sort it out for someone. But just maybe slightly off subject, but is this more down to this being the 7th game in the Champions League, a bit of unusual? We kind of know we're through, whether it was top 8 or top 16 or whatever it was. I feel like that probably plays a big part as well, as much as our performances and the cost of the ticket. I think if this game was Inter Milan at the Emirates and we were 2 points away from top 8, I think the Emirates would have been packed, booming. But is this now the first time we're in this Champions League format? Is this the first sight of, game week 7? I didn't look across the other games across the Champions League on Tuesday and Wednesday night, but I'm not sure fans are really not understanding of it, but it's unusual, Jordan.
I think it's all the things you just mentioned. Sorry, we're going to go, James.
No, Karen.
Sorry. I think it's all the things you just mentioned there. I think we're pretty much qualified. The fans aren't loving how we're playing at the moment. It's not cheap. It's still January, so people are still skinned from Christmas and New Year. The opposition aren't particularly sexy and attractive. It's an additional game that we don't normally have in the champ. I think it's the weather. It's bloody cold. I think it's all those things factored in that just makes people think, you know what, I'll swerve this one. Do you know what I mean? I think it's all those things in the pot because, Lee's been very diplomatic there. The atmosphere was, I've been to the Emirates nearly 200 times. It's maybe the worst I've ever seen it. It was, and I don't blame the fans entirely for that. I think all those factors are playing a role into why the atmosphere was poor. But the Zagreb fans were louder than the Arsenal fans for large parts. I mean, for them it's a day out, right? So I get it. They know they're going to lose the game. They're in London. They're buoyant. Cool. But it wasn't a good atmosphere at all. And I think all those things kind of go into the pot as to why it wasn't particularly bouncing from an. I think it was about half an hour before I heard the first Arsenal chant. Where I was sitting, it was really, really, really bad. The game wasn't great. 3 points in the bag, virtually secure for the next round. But yeah, Lee makes a really good point. The way it's going at the moment, and this is maybe a testament to why the format is good. The new format is good. You may be unlucky, and you may finish top 2, top 3, and you may get Real Madrid. Do you know what I mean? You may just be unlucky, but we can't really dwell on that too much. We just got to do our business and progress as we can. Just a couple of things. I think that the dropping of Mars Lewis Skelly was a really good one. I heard some fans around me saying they thought he should have played. I thought taking him out was really smart. We've got to manage. Sorry, my camera's doing a bit of madness. I'll fix it in a second. I think we've got to manage his minutes. He's been done really well recently, and I don't really rate Zinchenko that highly. But this is a game that Zinchenko can do a competent at worst type performance. So I think it was a good move, just taking the kid out for a game and just managing those minutes. It's really noticeable how every time we get a corner, I've not been to the Emirates for a few weeks, but every time we get a corner, Jova just pops up. It's really weird how Arteta almost sits down and Jova kind of gets up. And I know other fans have been kind of taking the mickey out of us for that. But I must admit, even as an Arsenal fan, it is a bit annoying that he just kind of comes up. And I don't know why. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't do anything. He just kind of stands there. Yep, all right. And then sits back down again. It's really, really odd and unnecessary. I don't know if it's the presence of, we've been working on this all week. If they see me standing up, then they'll remember what the drill is. I don't know. It was really, really odd. And a little bit funny as well.
Has he always stood up? When did he start standing up? I can't remember. Has he always done this?
Yeah,
I don't think he has. Oh, he has.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, it's just it's being highlighted more now, yeah.
Okay.
I saw Gary Neville being really critical of him, not for the first time. The other day on Stick to Football, I think it was. And the thing, I don't know, Gary's been a professional, so he'll know how much can you really hear from a set piece coach all the way, over on the touchline when you're running a set piece and you probably have your plans. I was at the game, the 2-2 against Villa, and I was looking over, and there were signs that Yeovil was communicating with someone, but not all the time. It didn't feel like they were all looking over to him for a message necessarily. But the one thing I'll say, and that slightly annoys about the criticism of Nicholas Yeovil, is this is a guy who has a particular job, right? Set piece coach. And I don't know if there's anyone in world football who is executing set pieces, attacking and defensively, as well as Arsenal Football Club, probably in world football. So why is anyone like Gary Neville annoyed at him for it? I don't get it. We are quite literally immense at set pieces. So what if he's... I don't know. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, how are we being critical about a guy who's doing his job very, very well? Now, Gary's point, and I think you kind of half made it there too, John. What's he actually achieving from there? It's probably maybe true, but like, who cares? Do you know what I mean? He's doing a masterful. He's doing a masterful job. I mean, we are phenomenal at set pieces. I think if there's anyone at Arsenal Football Club we shouldn't be questioning, it's Nicholas Yeovil. It's like a list of 50 other people I need to ask questions of.
You're right.
Before him.
You're right.
You want to stand up, enjoy your moment, Nicholas.
It was just funny because every time we got a corner, I said to sit down and he gets
I
up.
It's for sure.
Funny. But
then the minute it goes wrong, or the minute
he sits back down,
straight back. But I can only expect that he needs to watch live what's happening, or maybe he gives some gestures, or maybe he speaks to one person. I'll tell you what I have noticed. Every time we got set piece against Villa, Gabriel was talking to the taker, whether it be Rice going over to the corner flag or Erdegaard. There'd be quite a degree of communication. We'd take a lot of time to set up for it. So, in that time, Yeovil could be getting something across to them. But, Gary Neville, really, he says he's really kind of overreaching his importance. And I just think, but he's not really, because it's our main source for goals. He's very important right now. I don't get the criticism, but I get what you're saying. It is also quite funny to watch.
It's just funny to watch, you know what I mean? But just on the game itself, just sorry before Lee comes back in, just in attack, we're bad, guys. Lee's right. Sterling's done. I think Sterling's done. I mean, I'm at the point, and I could be reaching here, but I'm at the point where I'm like, do we just cancel the loan and send him back and save the money? Because he's literally doing nothing. He's doing he's almost costing us now, guys. There's times when we have a move and it's always breaking down because of him. He's not beating his man. Twice, I think he overran his dribbles and for a goal kick. He's not getting shots off. Defenders aren't even defending him correctly now. He's offering literally nothing. I think, I don't know if it's a thing of in a career, you just get to a point where you're just not effective anymore. But when 2/3 because I thought Havertz was poor as well, but when 2/3 of your front three are not giving you anything, there's an over-reliance on your midfield. I felt really sorry for Odegaard and Declan Rice because they're trying to get stuff going, but Havertz's movement's good, but there's nothing much there. And Sterling is literally just, he might as well not be there. Our attack on that first half was so bad. Again, I'm going to praise the Flirter. The Flirter I thought had a really, really good game. That first goal comes from him. It's from him beating his man. That first goal is all about him. And there was a few other times in the first half and second half where he's beating his man again now. And I just want to praise him because I think he's been really bad this season. But the last two games, he's going back to the Flirter that he's not flirting so much anymore. He's now closing. You know what I mean? So I want to praise him.
The second goal was all him as well. The second goal was all him as well.
Yeah, it's true. You're right.
But just back to the Jova thing, I'm going to give whoever can answer this question correctly, I'll give you £50, right? Yeah?
I like this.
£50, right? All right, cool. I'm going to give you 4 teams and 4 seasons, yeah? West Brom 16-17, Oldham 92-93, Liverpool 21-22, and Man City 21-22, 2011-12, and 09-10. They're all up there in the top 5 corners scored in the Premier League season. So for £50, can one of you tell me the name of one of them set piece coaches? For £50. It's going once.
Wasn't
Julian
Nicholas
Smith.
Yeover the
Julian
City
Smith's the
coach in
guy at West
21,
Brom.
20? Oh, that's Liverpool.
Julian Smith's the guy at West Brom.
Julian Smith, yeah?
Yeah, West Brom.
Julian Smith, West. Let's see.
He's
Let's see.
typing it and checking.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check. If you might have won it, but you're also
joking,
a journalist.
I'm joking.
You know what, lads? Right, it doesn't matter what Like, I remember when Arsenal under George Graham used to have the Steve Bold flick on. Tony Adams used to come at the back post and score the goal. That we got criticised for that. You know what I mean? Like, as that all Arsenal got back in the day. You know what I mean? Like, we'd scored loads of goals from other areas. We actually won the league in '89, if you remember rightly, by most goals scored, not by goal average, not by whatever corners or whatever. Most goals scores, but people would criticise that move. And I remember going to Old Trafford. I'm pretty sure it was that season. It was the season when actually Tony Adams got the nickname Donkey because he put in his own goal. It was pouring down with rain, struggling in the game. Flick on from Steve Bold. Tony Adams poles in, go 1-0 up. And Tony Adams in the last couple of minutes put one in his own goal. But the point being, there were times when you can't be free-flowing, you can't get these breakdown seams, and a set piece wins you a game or gets you a point or whatever. And the fact is the matter that we got pillared for that. The reason we got pillared for it was because no one could bloody stop it. So they try and manipulate it by a different way. And that's what Gary Neville's doing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't like Arsenal. We don't want us to be successful. Let's highlight this and put Arsenal under a little bit of pressure for them. Because at the end of the day, no one else can stop it. No one else has stopped it. So they try and do it different ways. And I think it's something you just got to get used to, boys. You know, we found something that no other team can do. Even so much so that I've seen other teams copying it a little bit now. Not to the law, but you can see that there's definitely, they've had a look at what Arsenal are doing and all that. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a compliment.
No, it is. He's a great thing.
Yeah, it is. And I get what Turkish you're saying there, but football now is completely changed. Where, if I'll be really honest, you know what I mean? Did you know that many referees back in the day? Did you? Not really. There was a couple of
many sporting directors.
I kind of did though, Lee. Uriah Reddy, Paul Dirk. What's his name? Paul Dirk. There was about I knew
yeah, but you wouldn't. Like, but nowadays they're like highlighted a lot more. Sporting directors is another great one. Like, you know what I mean, James. The game's changed, and I also think they have to fill in a bit of film time or whatever. Like, you know what I mean. And it's a good one to do.
Mikel Arteta, whenever he's won like a Manager of the Month award, he's always taken the picture with his staff. I mean, this is someone who he really tries to put his staff to the forefront. And I'm sure he's not the only coach in football doing it. But, you know, people might say, oh, Nicholas Yeover's, getting up, blah, blah. I wouldn't be surprised if Mikel told him. If Mikel said, Yeover on set pieces, I want you leading that because they've got time to set. So use the opportunity to get involved. But the minute he's standing there, and we haven't scored a goal in 30 corners or whatever, I'll start to go, oh, okay, this is just all looking a bit embarrassing. But I just think while it's working, I'm just really the least of my worries. It's bottom of the list of my worries.
Yeah. It's the other thing that's the worry.
Just final point for me on the set piece. Sorry, guys, is that you're right, James. He's being effective. We scored a lot of goals from corners, but I thought about it last night. I think Gabriel's got 4 or 5 goals this season, right, from corners. He should have double that. I've seen Gabriel from corners miss about 4 or 5 sitters, and I'm not having a go at him for that. I'm just making the point that the process is working. It's churning out goal-scoring chances. So for all the goals we've scored from corners this season, I'd argue we should have double. Gabriel's missed some real bad, for all the goals he scored, he's actually missed some sitters from corners too. But again, I'm not having a go at him. I'm just making the point that whatever Jover's doing is generating goal-scoring chances. So you're right, James. Yeah. He's the least of our problems.
Yeah. Go on.
Partey's had a couple, I remember.
Gabriel had one last night.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you are right. I'm not. I'm just. Look, we got to separate what we're talking about here. He is a credit to Arsenal Football Club. He has brought something that we've needed, especially in this Emirates era. He's brought another side to us. He does. He deserves his praise. But there's a thin line between with Gary Neville. You know, last year he predicted us to win the title. Nobody had a problem with him then, but now he says something a bit controversial about us. Now it's like, oh, Gary is always moaning. But let's not make it about this anyway, because
Hey, I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I don't have a problem with Gary Neville. He's stuck with us to win the title, and his reasoning is fair. And I think his analysis on Arsenal's been good. I just disagree with his
yeah,
issue with
no,
with
that's fine. You know how sometimes people get, oh, it's
Nicholas
Gary.
Jova.
He's always
Yeah, but Arsenal fans have this weird kind of, because 3 years ago he said he didn't understand our transfer policy, so Arsenal fans are still mad at him. Look, I agree it wasn't a great take, but who cares? I mean, it's not like we pulled up trees that season. So yeah, there is this weird thing with Arsenal fans and Gary Neville. The Nicholas Jova thing, I don't really kind of get. I think it's also more calling him like the most annoying man in football. I'm like, a guy who's doing his job really well. You know what I mean? That's where I'm a bit like, you're now edging towards
It's jealousy.
Is it
It's
a touch
jealousy.
personal? Maybe you don't mean it to be, but yeah. But
But
I
we-
agree. There's kind of weird Arsenal fan rivalry going on, which I don't really get. But there we go.
on to back to Martinelli then. What best performance of the season by him?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wanted to just jump in on the wingers stuff. And actually, I thought the conversation you guys were having about the atmosphere was interesting. Just a quick line on that. For me, I know we don't like to use it as an excuse for player performances, but I just think there's too much football now. And I think we've thought this for a while, whether it's affecting player quality or not. I think it's affecting fan, engagement a little bit. I don't know about you guys. This month has just felt relentless. I'm going to put my hands up. I watched the game. First half, I was doing exercises while watching it. Second half, I was having dinner. Like I wasn't sat in front of my TV like big game. You know, I was kind of mid doing other things because it's just been so much football. It's just so
Are you saying you
much.
watched the highlights, James? Is that what you're saying? You watched the highlights?
No. I did not do it, Jordan. Although
You haven't invested in it as much as you should be, is what you're saying.
that 7-minute highlight package is you get a lot from it, Jordan. I can't lie.
What 7-minute highlights from yesterday? Where did you find that?
I don't know. Are there? There might be. I think the TNT highlight packages are a bit longer.
Did you
But
switch
anyway,
over and watch Manchester City? Did you switch over?
I had the
and watch
City.
Manchester-
I had the City game on as well. I'm not going to lie to you. I had two separate screens. I had them both on, and what a game that was. And I think actually I want to touch on that in a sec too. But I think I can understand why. I said a while back that I don't think every game should always feel like life and death. Like every game is the biggest of your season. I think good clubs who are playing really well should have games in a season where it's just a bit more routine. You just get on with it, 3 points in the bag, on you go, not too much to say. We had to do well. And I think there's room for that in Arsenal's January schedule. I think every game has felt so intense and so high stakes. So I don't mind that we just made light work of this. That's not, though, to put down the fantastic efforts of our Champions League campaign. I think we can be very critical of this season. We absolutely can be. But the Champions League has been something we have navigated extremely well. And you only got to look at the sides that aren't in the top 8, whether it be Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Manchester City, PSG. This has not been an easy competition for some clubs to navigate. And I wouldn't even say that the fixture list has necessarily been the reason for it for us, because we've had to have PSG at home. Atalanta, tricky place to go. The only game we've lost was Inter away. I thought we played fairly well there. I don't think we deserved to lose. It was a pretty unfortunate handball that lost us that game. We haven't conceded a single goal from open play, so only a penalty and a set piece, which I think was a corner, in Champions League football. And we've got ourselves into a position where with one game to go, our place in the top 8 is all but secured. And I think you've got to give credit to the club. Europe isn't something we navigate particularly well. And even in the years, we were only back in it last season for the first time in a long time. But I remember the group stages before that. We finished second in that group, or we'd kind of, in the last one or two group games, we'd find a way through. And we'd kind of make a bit of a mess of it. I actually think we've done brilliantly in the Champions League this season. Full credit to the team for it. I want to say that.
Do you think well, we was talking about this on the way home last night, and Julian was saying yesterday that despite not having no forwards, we can win the Champions League. Believes that we can win the Champions League. And
What doesn't Julian believe?
Yeah, no, like whether you think it's crazy or not, we was having a conversation because it sparked a conversation yesterday, and we was on a train yesterday. That we've got to get a striker. But do you think the way we set up probably suits us more in Europe than it does in the Premier League?
I wondered this until I saw how we did in that first leg against Newcastle. So yes, maybe, but.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I don't know. I think the Newcastle game we did do particularly well in, and to be honest, I was quite underwhelmed with how we did against Bayern Munich and Porto in the knockouts last season. But I get your point. Is there something about having such a robust defence? You dominate territory for 180 minutes. Even though we're not sort of great in front of goal, is there enough chance creation there to get 3-4 goals over 2 legs? In theory, yes. I'm just not sure in practice it's going to work out that way.
Julian made a point yesterday. He said that, we can win the Champions League. And I actually said, what, with this attack, you think you can win it? And someone in the comments yesterday when we was doing the show turned around and said, well, Chelsea won it with Werner, Havertz and Mount. And I sort of like, when you look at it like that, you have to sort of think, well, is that a better attack than ours? And I still think that it probably is. I think like Werner was on fire at that time. He's not the Werner he is now. And Mason Mount was pretty good back in the day, England international. But I see the point. You don't have to be the best team to win the Champions League.
I think there's something, Lee, in the point of you haven't got to be the best team to win the Champions League. We've seen that. But I think more than the Premier League, a striker is definitely essential to win the Champions League. I think you've mentioned an example there. I've just kind of Rolodexing from my brain right now. I can't think of another Champions League winner that's not had a goal scorer on form that's won it. Can you name another team that's won the Champions League?
Probably Liverpool back in 2005, was it? They had Steven Gerrard on fire. They didn't really have if I remember rightly, a top forward.
No. You're right. That's 2. You're right.
It's rare.
It's rare though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's rare. Like, you know what I mean? And I can see those examples, but when you're looking at it, we've just picked out 2 examples out of how many? The majority is you're going to need a big. Julian said, "Oh, what about Chelsea when they won it back in? I think they come 6th in the league or something, didn't they? Couldn't even qualify for Champions, but they had Drogba. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So you have to." 9 times out, I think you're going to need a little bit more than what we've got. So, listen, I didn't think there was much between us and Bayern Munich last season, at the end of the day. But they had just that little bit of edge when it really mattered in front of goal with us, But I don't know.
See, that was a Bayern Munich side that were having a bad season by their standards.
Yeah, got to the semi-final.
And an Arsenal side that were in the form of our lives. It's. You need something special in Europe. That front 3 of Mount, Werner, Havertz. Difference was they weren't a possession-based side; they were counter-attacking. So it suited Havertz's movement, if you like, to a T, and Werner's pace. And Mason Mount, in his first 2-3 seasons at Chelsea, I thought was a terrific player. I'd have loved to have signed him from Chelsea till seeing the injury record and what he's done at United. So it was a very different side. I mean, a lot of their quality came from Reece James and Chilwell at wing back as well. Kante and Jorginho in midfield. It was just they approached it in a very different way to I think how we're trying to.
I've just got because I don't know if there's much more to chat about this particular games before we got onto Wolves, but I've just got a slightly Go on, James. Go on. Because I've got a separate.
The wingers. Is it? Are you still chatting about the game?
No. My point is separate to the game. So you go.
Okay. Sorry. So I will dive in because I actually never answered Turkish's question. I went off on a tangent, but he asked about Martinelli. I do think that was his best game in. Well, one of the best games he's had this season. To be fair to him, good on him. I thought he really showed a lot of personality on the ball. Because I always think a fullback's going to have a tough time if they don't know if you're going to go on the outside or the inside. That's what Martinelli was doing all game. He was going both sides, but also I thought Zinchenko was very underrated, not just for, like, we look at Zinchenko for what he does in terms of passing and creativity when he inverts, but I really liked how often he was hugging the touchline. And he's actually whipping some really good balls into the box. Not that they really led to much, but that gave Martinelli a little bit of freedom to move on the inside a bit. And that's all we're asking for here. A little bit of fluidity, a little bit of tactical flexibility in our positioning. Can we get Martinelli a bit closer to goal? Can we just mix up the positioning of these players? I actually think the left-hand side has been one of the very few success stories of the last couple of games. I think Trossard's come to life down the left. Lewis Skelly's been brilliant. I will still stand by that Marino's been fine, but Declan Rice has been brilliant actually against Tottenham and in this game as the box-to-box.
Since coming on against United, Declan Rice he looks renewed.
Yeah, I agree. And now you've got, our wingers on the left coming to form a little bit. So the left has certainly clicked, and that's been an area we've been really concerned by. I know you want to jump in on that bit, Lee, just super quickly.
No, I just want to jump on what we're saying about. I think Martinelli, to be honest, has stepped up since Saka's gone down. I think that he has. He's not stepped up massively, but I think he's been the shining light in that so far. As Jordan said, I thought Havertz yesterday done okay, created the first goal with a lovely touch. Other than that, what did he do in the first half? Not a lot. Missed a good header. In the second half, he gets his goal, but realistically, that was on a plate for him from a wonderful, wonderful cross. And I just think that Martinelli steps up. I was watching him yesterday quite closely as well, and his work rate again in a game like that, was high level. He could have just eased off a little bit, but he didn't. He worked really, really hard, and I just think that he has stepped up. But that ain't going to be enough, boys, to get us to where we want to go. You know what I mean? Martinelli hitting form. We need a bit more.
Yeah, we do. And what were we saying about Ødegaard's crosses against Villa? You need that delivery that makes the decision easy for the striker. I think so much of Havertz's finish there for that second goal comes from Martinelli's cross. It's got the right width, the right pace. Havertz's movement's good, and it's just get your head on it, guide it either side of the keeper, and it's going into the back of the net. And Martinelli actually tried one earlier in the first half, and no one really run onto it. I think it was Ødegaard who failed to run onto it. And, Martinelli looked disappointed, and rightly so. It's kind of good to see him kind of annoyed, think I've put a good ball into the box, people. And, I thought he was really great. On Sterling, for anyone who watches the Gooniverse saw my match report, apologies for repeating myself, but I sort of had a moment watching the game yesterday. Easy when you're winning the game and, you're not kind of feeling frustrated in any way, but Raheem Sterling has had a fantastic career. A lot of youngsters come through with a lot of excitement, a lot of potential, and don't do even a quarter of what he's done in the game. And that is play at a supremely high level for Liverpool Football Club, score bags and bags of goals for Man City, winning loads of trophies and playing for the greatest manager of all time, arguably in some people's eyes. It hasn't happened at Chelsea. It certainly hasn't happened at Arsenal. He's not good enough for us right now. But I'm sort of like, I'm not really going to slander him. He's sort of played at the highest level for like the last 13 years. And if he's not at the level, then we have made a mistake signing him, and B, need to address it in the window ASAP. But I'm just not really going to like tear into Raheem personally, because I don't know how to say it, but it's the club's fault. His fault.
It's the club's
fault. It's the club's fault. It's not his fault if he's just not at that level anymore. It's just not. I saw him trying to take players on, and I felt sorry for him because I was just like, you just don't have that burst anymore. You just don't have it.
I agree. I'll sit.
You just kind of lose it at some point. And maybe I'm being more insulting saying this. Maybe it's a form thing, and I'll rediscover it, and I'll look an idiot. But I just, that's what I thought of Willian, and then he actually went to Fulham and looked really good at 34. So maybe I'm actually being insulting going this way with the conversation around Raheem. But I'm just not really in a position to kind of get angry at him about it. We shouldn't have signed him. He's not looking up to speed. but he's going to get kind of slandered and ridiculed for it. And he's been at 4 big clubs in England. And I'd argue, and I mean this in the nicest way, that I don't think he's particularly like loved or has that like legendary status at any one of them, that for the performances he's given over his career. And also for what he's done for England, he showed how few players actually show up for England when it matters. And he has, at the Euros, and whether it be in the 10 out on the left, he's turned up for club and country. And does he have that legendary status where that one fan base like really is behind? And I feel for him. He should have that at City, in my opinion. And maybe City fans will say, no, he does. We love Raheem. And I'll go, fair enough. But I'm just not really in a position to like slander him. I think he's not at the level, but I'm not like mad at him for it.
I agree. I agree with what you said there, James. You're bang on. I'm just wondering, should we be expecting something from him? I agree that he's not of the level that we require, but I've watched him now, apart from the United FA Cup game, where a couple of times he beat his man, got to the byline. I've seen nothing from him, like nothing.
I know.
Like you can be declining, but in a game of I don't know when he got taken off. You do nothing.
That makes me feel more sorry for him. You know what I mean? That like if we were seeing something at times, if at times he looked good when he was coming on, at times he didn't, I'd think, come on, just consistency, just sharpness. You can go, but we're seeing so little from him that I'm just inclined to think, cool, he's just not at that level anymore. And playing like regular football week in, week out from the age of 17, always available, never really had injury problems. It can catch up with you. And sorry, I feel like I've been almost like even more insulting one. I'm really not trying to be. I'm just where I am with it. I respect his career massively, and if he's not up to it for Arsenal, then
when Yeri come on, James. When Yeri came on within 5 minutes,
Did more.
When Yeri come in 5 minutes, and my mate Russ turned around and said he's got to start over him on Saturday.
Of course he does.
That tells you all you need to know, and if you look at it from Mikel's point of view, if you really rated him and things like that, right, he would just keep him on in that game. You know what I mean? But I think he actually took him off yesterday for his benefit, for actually his benefit. I actually looked at him when he come off, because right quite close to it. He didn't have the hump when he come off. You know what I mean? In 60 minutes, you think like, I've played well, and why am I being the one to be taken off? He resigned to it. I don't know if you see it before even the balls went up. He was walking off. He even knew he was coming on. There was 2 substitutes. I think Partey come on before the Sterling one. He was walking off before his number come up. It's just not happening for him. And if you cannot do it against that sort of opposition,
forget about it.
You've had it, haven't you? Yeah, you've had it. You've had it.
Yeah.
I hope when he retires that like City fans, and maybe look, I can't speak for City fans. I'm just talking about the Twitter, the online. When he left, or when he joined us, a few kind of ridiculed him with his statement of "you're going to see the best of me" and all that. And I don't think he left City on the best time. Did he do an interview when he left City, kind of explaining why he left or something like that? That I don't think went down particularly well. I'm not 100% sure. I might be wrong.
I think he didn't. He didn't. There was a clip of him not signing a City shirt. That put off a lot of City fans.
I thought he also. I mean, that's not the worst thing. I thought he maybe did do an interview explaining his side and why he left, but I might be wrong. Anyway, if I'm wrong about that, apologies. I hope when he retires that like England fans and City fans in particular, that there's just kind of like a lot of love and respect for the career he's had. I mean, made us miserable many a times as a City player. But just here, it's just not happening for him. So is what it is. But if Arsenal are serious, I think Arteta was asked about the possibility of recalling Vieira, and he said it is a possibility. I want Arsenal to turn this window. I'm not joking. Having recalled Vieira and signed a £60 million forward minimum, and then Nwaneri can actually be that forward we need. Sterling goes to 6th in line. You've got Saka to return in March, and the creative load can be taken off Ødegaard with Vieira not having to use a 17-year-old in that position. That's what I think we need to do between now and the end of the window, personally.
I'm weary of time as well, and I think Martinelli got the deserved credit. I think Rice obviously deserves credit as well. I think you mentioned it, James. Since coming on against Man United, I've seen a better Rice, more energy, more, I don't know, thrust from the midfield, box breaking. He was not to score against United, but glad he got his goal yesterday. To be honest, he should have had two. That Ranieri cross.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what side of the head that hit him on, but yeah, it went nearer the corner flag. Rice.
Yeah, he's only worth 95 million now. That was awful.
have a good assist for the first goal. Waka and all of that. Second one.
There was a resentless. I felt there was an awkwardness to sing that song. Yes, I don't know if you felt that.
I told you against Villa, it was the same.
There was like, shall we sing this or not? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, he it was a really good assist and a really good goal. Like, full credit to him. I'm kind of with Jordan. I felt the overround.
He done nothing after that.
Overall, all-round game wasn't great.
Even the head of the keeper moved his hand out the way. Like, it was straight at the keeper, but it went in.
Even the assist. It's a nice touch.
Nice.
But
yeah, nice touch. Yeah.
No, that's a good touch.
I thought it was a great assist.
Come on, a Premier League striker should be able to cushion that off. It's not.
Yeah, but the bar's so low, Jordan. That come on, man.
That's
really good.
Class touch.
I think it's a class touch because I think you can in that moment be really like, right, I'm not scoring. Balls come in, instincts just to hit it towards goal. I think to just kind of, I don't know, quickly set himself and lay it that well to right. I thought that was a really nice touch from Kai, but there we go. Not everyone rated it. I think
Coutinho played well yesterday. Got big credit to him. I thought I loved his performance yesterday.
Kept it clean.
They'll say Italian.
Yeah, if he was 25 and had legs, what player would he be for us? I think he's fantastic in there. Really, really like keeps the ball moving, moves it on. He just manipulates the ball really, really well in a game of football. But
he's defending well too, Lee.
Yeah,
really under the radar with Jorginho this season. Like, he's defending well. I think, he's shutting down attacks well, and for someone who doesn't have the legs to come in the field, he positions himself well.
Yeah, I think he doesn't play week in, week out, and then to put in that sort of performance, that's what I'm saying. When you look at that, and then you look at Sterling, this is a player that's on the wane in his career, but he still contributes. You know what I mean? And Sterling is struggling like mad. You know what I mean? Why? I'll tell you why. Because Jorginho's a better footballer.
No, I don't think it's just that. I think it's. That's part of it, but I think Lucas Giroud, man, he aged like fine wine. He got better and better. I think when your attributes aren't based on acceleration, pace, quick feet, I think you can sometimes just get better. I remember Pirlo at the age of 30 something, he was embarrassing midfielders, and the guy did it at walking pace. I think you can master your craft. Someone like Sterling, just with the minute that burst has gone and that ability to just kind of I don't know, read a defender which way they're going to go and quickly react in that split second. It's a quickness of thought as much as a quickness of feet and all that. And the minute that goes, you lose your biggest weapon. And unfortunately, that has gone a little bit for Sterling. But on Rice, I'm glad you gave him praise, Turkish. Is it just me who feels that Rice isn't? He's playing as the left 8, is the terminology I and many use. It doesn't feel like he's sitting in the pocket away from the ball though, waiting for him to receive. I might be wrong. It feels like he's playing more as an out-and-out box-to-box midfielder. That he's actually jumping onto second balls really well and then driving Arsenal up the pitch, making late runs into the box, and supporting the left-hand side with kind of lung-busting runs a lot more, rather than standing in the position, waiting for it to happen, waiting for a combination, almost in the way you'd expect Ødegaard to be. He's actually using those kind of legs and that drive he's got a lot more, almost starting from a lower base in midfield. And sometimes I notice it when Lewis Skelly's playing, it's Lewis Skelly's drifting into that area to receive the ball and then play the kind of more creative passes. And I think that's probably helped Rice a little bit more because he's probably running onto those positions more than he is standing in them waiting for something to happen.
Yeah. And what about Lee mentioned the weekend game against Wolves and Ranieri coming in, so we'll slowly move it on to that one there. Everyone expecting a more difficult game at the very least.
I am. Yeah, definitely. And we need an update on Saliba. Do we know when how much longer he's out for?
He won't be back
Um,
for Wolves.
no,
They're
I think we'll
saying
miss
Man
this game.
City.
It'll be
Okay.
back to Man City.
Ownership is fine.
They're just, it's
Just
only a
just on
strain.
defend, just on defending as well. Just quickly, I noticed that Kivior and Timber on one occasion each took a liberty on the ball
Yeah.
in the first half. Lewis Skelly does it as well quite a bit now
But
because
he gets out
Timber
of it,
and
though.
Lewis, well, I can say because they're technically very, very good. 8 times out of 10, they find their way out of it. But it's something we just got to kind of just be aware of because.
Jordan, and James and Lee, so I know we were meant to move on, but what did you lot make of Arteta one day kind of,
Yeah.
saying to a journalist, no right centre backs, he's left side, and then he fucking goes and plays him in that same position? Like, what do you lot make of that? Like,
He's a see you next Tuesday because when he brings someone's party on, he puts him at right back. I just think he just sends out a message listen, he made a mistake. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, I don't mind it if managers make mistakes. It doesn't matter what you do, you make a mistake, and I'm glad that he's looked at it and hopefully he's rectified it now. Like, you know what I mean? Because
just don't keep on making them.
Just don't keep on making them. Yeah, like he's made it 6 times against. He's played him 6 times there. You know what I mean? It's not worked for whatever reason. And at the end of the day, listen, Kivior isn't exactly the answer, but I'd rather him play where he played yesterday. And Timber looked so much better in the right back role, and we never got done. But at the end of the day, they never offered nothing. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
Wolves are going to offer something, you know what I mean? And I don't know, when Kivier's back there, I'm not as comfortable. You know, he made a couple of little mistakes. He made a mistake yesterday, and they're on to our, like
in the box,
strikers through on goal. Mm-hmm. So there is concerns there, like, you know what I mean? I think someone told me like that Ben White and that are training at this moment in time, but didn't show them for the cameras. Or I don't know if that's true or not. Why they do that, I don't know. But we want him back as soon as possible. It'd be ideal that we get him back for get him some minutes in Spain, and then look at if Saliba's not fit for City, he comes in
And I don't think we need Ben White back because we need him back. I think we need him back because just to give other players a rest.
Yes,
just to just to rotate some players. You know what I mean?
I think we could do with Ben White, but yeah, sorry, James.
We need him back. He's his stock
is. Is he that much better than Timber?
He's different,
is there a massive
difference? Ben White overlaps, and Timber done that by instruction as well. When we look at
I just think he also gives us better things in each box with height and things like that. But I'm with you on that. You can play Timber in different positions and still get a good performance out of him, and just rest players. You know what I mean? The reason Saliba's gone down at the moment because he's had too many games in this short period. 120 minutes playing here, he's not been able to have a break. You know what I mean? And I honestly think that maybe if it was a cup final this weekend, I think that he'd probably be out playing it or whatever. But they're just saying, do you know what? Let's give him the break until, the most important game against City and Newcastle. That's what I think they're doing.
On Arteta's quotes, I think what he didn't want to say was, I didn't want Kivior up against Watkins. I think that's what he wants to say, but he obviously can't say that.
Declan Rice, though, isn't it? What about him? You're acting like you don't have.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and there were other solutions. Could you have played Rice right back or centre back? Sure, but I think basically maybe Watkins is a very particular threat, and he wanted Timber. Look, we all agree that for the centre backs available, Timber and Gabriel was the best partnership we could have put together. It just means you've got to do something you don't want to do elsewhere. I don't agree with it, but that's what he went with. And I think Kivior probably starts against Wolves, just for the sake of everyone else being in the areas of the pitch they're most comfortable with. So,
and obviously Cunha, he might not start considering there's some rumours, and his attitude in the last game was very evident as well. If you was watching the game or highlights, you could see petulant moments. I don't know if that works in our favour, maybe on the transfer front, but as a player, I don't know if I want a player that after 6 to 12 good months, is acting up at the club he's at, whilst they're offering him big, because he'll players have done that to us in the past, but he might not be playing on Saturday. I don't know if there's any.
Yeah, I don't think we've got time for the whole Cunha chat, but I think a lot of people are seeing this as like, oh well, maybe he's available, maybe we should go get him. And I really like the player, but he just got. I had to look it up the other day. He got like a match ban and like an £80,000 fine for the incident with the Ipswich coach. Now he's like agreed a contract verbally with Wolves, but is refusing to sign it. And then apparently just had a shocker against Wolves, didn't clap the fans to the point with the manager to call it out. Now look, I think I said on the AFTV news I covered, I don't want to assassinate a player's character, because I think players can get really bad press when actually maybe not a lot's really going on and whatever. But it doesn't. Let me put it this way. We need a player. He's very good. He's an upgrade on what we've got in a lot of the positions. He definitely has some quality. But am I like over the moon, super excited about this? Now, he's probably going to score a hat-trick against us and make me look an idiot. But I'm not saying it doesn't come without my doubts, is what I'm saying, if we are exploring this deal. And now we're hearing that he is potentially available, and that Wolves might have to sell. So I don't know. It's all got a bit messy.
There was also a chance at the end where, not a chance, but maybe the Wolves player could have put it in the box. He didn't. He chose to shoot, and Cunha was flipping in the box. Flipping, hands everywhere, frustration on show. So yeah, it does seem like he's pushing for something. But I'm with James. I mean, just a Cunha doesn't answer the initial problems we have. I might answer it now, which are the problems that have unfolded off the back of the initial problem. But the initial problem was no threat in the 9 position. Now, obviously, we have a bit more problem in midfield and the chance creation or the fluidity, and he'll help with that. But yeah, listen, 7 days it's 3rd of February. Someone told me they're transfer.
Sesko, Cunha, vote. They're going to cost about the same. So who's everyone's vote?
Get both.
Neither.
Vote for one, for fuck's sake. Who's your vote?
For me, I'd go for Sesko because I think we need some more potency down the middle.
Cool.
Gyökeres is still the guy for me.
Yeah.
I don't want either.
Don't want either. But if you had to pick one, you lot are impossible. 2 days, pick one. those are the two we're linked with. They're going to cost about the same. That's why I'm asking.
If you had a gun to my head, Sesko, and I like Cunha, I just don't think we need that profile of player. He's not a striker. He's not a striker for me.
Okay.
So no.
2 votes for Sesko, Turkish.
Yeah, I said Sesko as well, striker.
I would, because I think of where he'll be in a couple of years, in my opinion. But Cunha's probably more ready to help today. But I'll go for Sesko.
Prediction time is at the table. Looks Jordan got another correct score, 3-0. So he's extended the lead at the top, 3 points ahead of James in second.
Don't let me pull away, guys. Don't let me pull away, because if I pull away win this league, I canter. That's almost akin to 2 championships. Yeah,
no, it's not. It's like Leicester winning the league, bro. Come on, man.
He called you Jamie Vardy.
Wow.
Where's Morgan?
Where's Morgan in the Monday? Yeah, Leicester City.
Fuchs at left back.
Like I said, I'm back in Jordan, man. 1 star. That means no one catches up to my 2. We go again next year.
I know. Well, I was 1 Erdegaard. I mean, I tell you what, when that deflection off the Zagreb defender took it right to Erdegaard, I was furious, man. Furious. We weren't 3-0 good on the day.
I'll tell you. I see my mates Hugo and Arthur watch every time. As soon as I see them yesterday, and they said like, "Oh no, like we think that Jordan got 3-0," and I said, "I think he did." We was hoping that he got 2-0, like because
you know what, Lee?
I said, I think I went 4-0 because 3-0 was not available.
Yeah.
Lee, I had to watch back the episode of The Laugh and to check. I had to scroll forward to the end of the pod.
I knew when he went 3. It was a moment I was thinking like 2-0. I thought 2-0 was no one was getting it, and then right at the last minute 3, and I had this horrible feeling in my bones that Jordan had 3, and I was
Odegaard, captain's performance.
Hugo and Arthur corrected me and said that it's probably true. So.
Big up the community, because I don't know how you don't remember. I have to always go back to get the predictions. But big up the community, man. Always paying close attention. All right, Jordan, as
All right,
the
let's go.
as
It
the
will be a
leader of
tough
the
game.
prediction table.
It will be a tough game. They've got some good players, Wolves. I think we'll win. I'm going for a 2-1. I'm going for a close 2-1.
2-1 win. James.
1-0 to the Arsenal.
1-0.
I've got written down here 2-1, 1-0, right, as my two picks. Right, I've got to go 0-2, but we ain't gonna win this game 2-0.
CUNHA ain't gonna play, is he?
Bloody going I'm last, and it makes it even worse. Who's last?
You.
What did you say, Turkish?
No, I'm going now.
Oh, sorry, I've jumped one. Am I? Sorry, I apologise.
Yeah, you have.
I was gonna go 2-1 as well. Let me just go 2-1. 2-1. Go on. Same as Jordan.
You know it makes sense.
If CUNHA was playing, guaranteed, I'd say 2-2. Because I don't think our performance against Zagreb fills me with much attacking hope. It's not like we split them open, and especially after going goal up in 3 minutes, I thought, yep, this is going to be a nice one. It wasn't so nice. Lee.
I'm going to go 2-0.
2-0.
I've got to make up some points somewhere. I know what you're saying. I think it's a 2-1 written all over it, or a 1 or a 1-0. It really is. But I've got to,
make it different.
I've got to go we all get 1 point, don't we? So I've got to go. I've got to go something different. This is what's killing me. This is why I'm not performing this season, because I'm having to try and.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah,
I'm making excuses,
not at all.
I've got to try and claw back some points. So 2-0, we'll be 2-0 up with a minute to go, and we get another one. You watch.
People, let us know yours in the comment section. Me and Jordan have gone 2-1 Arsenal. James has gone 1-0 Arsenal. Lee, begrudgingly, has gone 2-0, even though he thinks it's just a 2-1. But we move. This is the name of the game. You got to close the points gap. Comments of the day. Everyone good to go? Have you made one up yet, Lee?
I have made up one. I've got this one here. I've got to address this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the first one out.
I really like this podcast. It's one of the best. Big up you lot.
28 replies it's got.
Week.
And I'm going to address this. Does Lee ever put his heating on?
I had that.
I'm not having this. I mean, my house. Where our living room is quite big, and it takes ages for it to warm up, And when we do these podcasts, they're either very, very late at night or very early in the morning. Now, if the late at night one's coming, I'm coming in, so it takes me It takes about an hour to warm up the house, and if it's in the morning, it's the same. But like this morning, I was up early because I had to get ready because we've got to go out and everything like that. So I've had the fire on and the heating's on. But it still isn't warm in this house. So, the pensioner comments and all that, I'm not happy about them, by the way, like losing me fuel allowance and all that. Like, guys.
I didn't see that one.
Stop
Is that in the replies?
I'm not having it, right?
I need to go in the replies.
Just have a bit of fucking respect, that's all I'm saying,
That's so rude.
Lee, did you ever watch Flex's impression of you?
Yeah, yes. I actually had to find out who it was. You know what I mean? His impressions of other people are very good, but I don't think he's got mine off to a T. I really don't.
I tell you what, the impressions of you and Julian are bloody good. I can't lie, he absolutely nailed them.
He's very good.
I was just wondering.
He does one of Julian as well. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah.
Send me that one. Send me that one. I'll have to have a look at that.
I'll send you the full clip where he does all of them. It's
okay.
I've got to say, it is really good. On the topic of Lee, my comment of the day from Ade5754. James doing his best to stifle his smile when Lee said Duracell battery had me in stitches. I'm glad they noticed it. I think Turkish you clocked as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you just mess up your work. Like they're onto you, like you know what I mean. We should be onto the board as much as that, getting transferred. You know, on to making a mistake with a word. You know what I mean? No, big up to this community. Bollocks to them. That's what I say.
Oh, mate. Community,
No,
you hear that? Bollocks to you.
I've got one. I'm gonna big up the community. I think it was 100k views the last show. So thank you to all the people that watched it. I've got a few, but I'll just read one. Ty, we are not mathematically out of the FA Cup. The FA could still kick out the other teams from the competition.
That's a good one still.
I'm assuming he didn't actually say that, but it's the sort of thing that.
Good old Ty. Good old Ty.
The clip just come out of him, I think, on Extra, where it said something like he's not deluded after all, because he admitted that we need to buy a player to win the league. But yeah, big up Ty, man. No one supports Arsenal like him, man. From the men's team, women's team, under 21s and youth and all of that. Listen, he is the biggest Arsenal fan I know.
Julian doesn't think we need one, but Ty does. So, you know what I mean? That tells you everything, doesn't it? Like, you know?
So, yeah, the deluded rankings have changed. The power rankings have changed. Julian at
Our
number
rankings
1.
have changed.
My one's short and sweet. S Noble. I just love Turkish, and it's got 3 likes. So you 4 out there, love for the love. I love you too.
Yeah, I'll take it back about the community. That's good. 3 people have liked it. Like, you know, you're back on my side. You know,
well, 28 people like yours, mate.
Yeah, well, bollocks to them then.
Back to bollocks to them. All right, people. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Big up James. Big up Lee. Big up Jordan. Go shout out the individual channels. Whisper it loudly. Mr. Lee Judges TV. Gooniverse. Mine's Turkish LDN. Go show some love to them channels. This channel. Make sure you subscribe. Put the notification bell on. Hit the like button. And we'll be back Sunday morning or Monday. I can't remember. But we'll be back when Liverpool play after us. Did they play after us? Can't remember.
I think they play Saturday. I think they play
We'll
Saturday.
be back when we're back.
I think they're 3 o'clock as well.
So it should be Sunday we're doing it then. So it should be Sunday, people. Could be Monday, but if you're subscribed with the notification bell on Sunday or Monday, you'll be here, as we will be. Love for the love, people. See you soon. Peace.